takes forever. All the time, every day. Every day. You take forever. Yeah, I'm waiting for you every time. Every day. Waiting for you. Don't blame it on me. What? Let me stop.
So how would you characterize that first half?
We were a little sluggish, a little bit. The coach staff said to us in the huddle, like, we got to attack the zone. We really weren't aggressive in the zone, so especially when we came in for halftime. So we started when they went zone, started to attack the zone, got good looks, and we hit shots. So it was a better second half than the first half for sure.
You both had big plays to kind of ignite that second half. Jamar, you hit the three. Zed, you had the back-to-back buckets and the shot clock violation. What did those moments, how much did you guys need something to spark you and get you going after the way the first half went?
We needed that a lot, especially, like you said, the first half was like one of the worst first halves we played all season. So we just needed something like a spark to get us going, and I feel like that's the spark we needed.
Talking about the defensive play, we, as you said, we need stops. Defense creates offense. So by us getting stops, it gives us energy, and we are going down there and score the ball. And he hits big shots. I told Jamar all the time, when I pass you the ball, please shoot the ball. And he still doesn't shoot it when I pass him the ball. So, trying to up my assist numbers. but yeah, I tell him every time I pass out, shoot the ball. Be confident. So yeah.
Jamar, why do you think that was one of your worst? You said it was one of the worst halves of the season. Why do you think that was the case?
We just wanted ourselves, especially me. Them 2 dumb fouls early in the game kind of took me out my game. Then just we wasn't aggressive at all on the offensive end, just standing there, wasn't attacking the goal, offensive rebound. We were just lazy, basically. But we picked it up second half. We needed that.
It seemed like, there were moments in that first half where you guys kind of were able to step up defensively. Whether it's that Cedric double dribble or the eventual kind of Kyle Young kind of forced a shot at the end of the shot clock, but it didn't turn into offense like you were saying. What kind of clicked there in that second half to allow the defense to kind of create momentum on that offensive side?
Just keep doing what we're doing. We felt like first half we played good defense. We just knew shots gonna fall. We couldn't control that, and just take care of the ball. We had a bunch of sloppy turnovers first half also. So just keep doing what we're doing on defense and turn defense into offense, and that's the best. That's how we want to play, get turnovers and play in transition. So we feel like that's the easy way to score and the way we want to play. So just focus on the defense and everything take care of itself.
And it seemed like, turnovers were something that kind of plagued you guys early in the year, and it seemed like something that you guys kind of got away from. What was it that allowed them to rear their head there in the first 20 minutes?
Not being aggressive. We just standing around the zone, not giving the shots they're going to take us, trying to force it, things like that. So just not playing our game. That's basically what we did.
Jamari, when you pick up those 2 early fouls, what are you thinking as you sit on the bench there for a few minutes, and then how did you kind of snap back into it there in the second half?
I was hard on myself because I did it in Michigan. I want to say that I had 2 early fouls, so just knowing I got to be smarter than that, keep taking myself out of games, especially like that. But I didn't want to take that away from my aggressiveness on the defense end because that's what I do. So I just got to adjust with the game, see how the ref calling it early, but. I just had to stand there, to keep my head in the game, because coach told me you going back in first half, just keep your head into it and stuff like that. So,
how do you balance that sort of aggressive mindset? You've been one of the best steals guys in the league for a few years now, but there's also possessions where you're really directing traffic out there and making sure the switches are on point and stuff. How do you balance when to be the aggressive guy who's going to gamble for a steal as opposed to the guy who's going to be sort of the quarterback, for lack of a better term, is getting everybody in the right spots?
Right. Just pick my chance. Just pick it out. Don't do it every play. That's something that Coach Holtmann do it. You got to pick your spots throughout the game when you want to be aggressive, and just reading the refs. They call in ticky-top fouls. Then don't be as much aggressive I want to be, but just coming in knowing they had a good guard on the other team. That was something I was focused on. Just going out there try to get stops and be aggressive. Don't let him get started earlier. But obviously that didn't. Refs took me out of that, but just
You be fouling though.
sometimes.
It did seem like you found a way to affect that in the second half without fouling, obviously.
Right.
How did you I guess, get to that point?
Just, I don't know, just being me, just basically just being me. I feel like they let me free up a little bit more on the defensive end, play a little bit more aggressive, but I wasn't gonna stop playing aggressive, even though they was gonna keep calling it. I wasn't gonna let that change my game. I was gonna keep being RB and make the refs, put it in the refs' hands to call it or not call it.
Jamari, Minnesota's coach said that they dared you to take some threes, sagged off a little bit. When teams do that, how important is it that you not only take those, but you make them?
Very important. I love when they do that easy points for me. I don't know why teams keep backing off, but I'll take it and just get it. But like I said, I feel like that the defense, the early fouls affected me first half also on the offensive end. Like, I was just so much in my head that I was missing shots that I knew I supposed to hit and I could hit. So just taking the shots they give me. They're going to give it to me. I'm going to take it all day.
How much of handling that type of situation is you being a veteran and having been through this before, as opposed to maybe early in your career that gets to you even more than
Right.
what it did in the first half?
Yeah, played a big role. Like you said, if I was younger, like my freshman or sophomore year, it definitely would have got to me throughout the whole game. But I knew I had a whole another second half to bounce back and things like that. And especially like in the Big Ten, you can't hold on to stuff because every possession matters, no matter if it's home or away. So just shaking it off and just being who I am, second half.
Tamari, the whole team's daring you to shoot. At what point in the game do you actually notice that they're doing that?
I noticed from the beginning. Right when I got back in, I just wanted to get my rhythm, my flow, because early fouls, they kind of got me out my flow. So I was just trying to get my flow, get steals, get easy baskets here and there. But second half, I feel like I just came out with my flow and just knocked the shots down that they gave me.
So when you do notice it, obviously you're not going to try to force it, but how do you kind of know, all right, I need to start getting my shot going now versus when I need to continue to, run the offense?
Yeah, be aggressive. That's my thing. Just be more aggressive on that, especially when they're going to give it to me. And I notice, like you say, don't force shots, but take the good ones for sure.
Zed, we talked with Chris Holtmann a lot this past week, and he mentioned how you and the coaching staff have had conversations about being tough on the inside, defensively and whatnot, especially against Hunter Dickinson at Michigan, and then tonight with Minnesota. I think you had a shot clock violation where you were really excited after forcing Minnesota to get into one of those. How have you taken what the coaches have told you about being more physical and just tougher on the defensive end and really applied it over the last handful of games?
Yeah, well, speaking with the coaching staff, they were like, yeah, you have to get better on defense. Like, you're like the anchor on the back, like the back line. So in ball screens and like rotating over, like they said, you have to be better. Like teams are scoring like too easy in the paint. So trying to build on that every game. To get better on that every game. And just going to the shot clock. The shot clock violation. It was a tough defensive stop. Like we needed that. It brings it's as you see the crowd got into it and we got behind the energy, and we just kept it rolling. So, we need those plays, and I need to be better every game on defense.
And this could be for either of you. I mean, last week after the win at Michigan, Chris Holtmann clamored for E.J. Liddell to be more involved in the national conversation, Conference Player of the Year and whatnot. He scores 4 points in the first half, but then comes back for a double-double in the second half. How have you seen E.J. just be so integral to the offense to where he can play the first half like how he did, but then come roaring back in the second half?
He's a great player. He deserves to be running for the National Player of the Year.
He should be Player of the Year.
Yeah,
definitely.
literally.
He played both ends too. He'll be a shot blocker for us too.
Yeah.
A lot of big time players don't do that. They usually focus on one end, but I feel like he do it on both, and he binding more on the defense end. But definitely got my vote for Player of the Year for sure.
Definitely. You see on both in the games, big shots, going off 35, 30, just shows it time and time again that he's one of these one of the best players, if not the best player in the country in college.
Thank y'all.
He's passed me the ball. He'll pass me the ball. You gonna shoot the ball. Don't stop passing. Don't pass, no. You won't shoot. Don't stop passing.
right, guys. Obviously, good win against a quality opponent, and give Minnesota credit. I think they make the game challenging with some of their mixing defenses and their ability to make shots. So give them credit. I thought our guys, really in the second half were able to make some shots, and I think that opened the defense up a little bit, and we played with a little more purpose on the offensive end there, and a little bit cleaner in the second half. Some of it was we had to adjust to how they were doing some things, but good win, and moving on to practice on Thursday.
Chris, about 10 minutes in, Zed missed a shot. Very next time out, you actually pulled him totally aside, talked to him by himself for a little bit, and then in the second half, it looked like he played with a little more force and was a little more effective. What was that conversation between you guys, and what did you see him flip the switch in the second half?
Yeah, we've just been on him about slowing down and playing with more balance in the post. That's the biggest thing. He just rushes it too much. He's got to settle the ball. He's got to read the defense, and he's got to play on balance. And
Do you think in the first half, them having Curry back maybe changed the dynamic of the defense, the zone from the first time you guys played?
Well, Curry's a really good player. Having him back helps him on both ends because he's a really good player and he's a big body and he's been in this league for a while, so he knows how to play. But just in general for Zed and his growth, he's got to slow down when he's in traffic. He can score over bigger guys. He's done it his whole career, but he can't do it when he's rushing things. And that was my conversation with him. And sometimes you got to pull a guy aside because they hear it, but when you really want them to hear it, that's. I just wanted him to slow down because he's really effective when he slows down.
Obviously, you want defense to turn into offense, and it seemed like the your defense kind of showed up there in that first half. But I mean, with that stretch of the scoreless drought and the turnovers and things like that, I mean, obviously that was adjusting to Minnesota's zone. But I mean, what allowed you guys to kind of use a consistent defensive performance and kind of turn that into offense there in the second half?
I think our defense helped. We were able to create some turnovers playing Jamari for a longer stretch. His activity was really good. So was Zed. Zed had 2 steals. And then I honestly making some open shots. I think that, we were able to finally kind of make some open shots. And Ryan Peden had a good suggestion at halftime about attacking the zone a specific way. I thought that was helpful.
And how impactful was that first 3 from Jamari Wheeler to kind of ignite your offense there in that first half?
Yeah, I think that was critical. It was a late clock. We were trying to get the ball inside, and ended up. He's a really capable shooter with time and space. We know that he's very capable with time and space. Might take him a minute, but he's very capable, and we want him to shoot those and be ready to shoot them.
Chris, what's it been like for you this year coaching a guy like Jamari, who is a little bit of a gambler, I think, on the defensive end? But obviously his ball pressure and activity are very important to you guys. I don't think you want him to lose that, but you also don't want him sitting on the bench with 2 fouls 2 minutes into the game. So what's that balance been like?
I thought he had really good pop today, Bill, in terms of just his bite defensively. He's just got to be able to manage that aggressiveness with just a little bit smarter play. His second foul wasn't smart, and he almost got a third one. So I think he's just got to balance that. He's got to take some chances because that's who he is, and I don't want to, prevent him from doing that. I think we've tried to stress being a little bit more solid in areas off the ball and being a little more aware and, not creating offense with his pressure. But I thought he was really good tonight on a really good player.
He, last game and this game, maybe not every possession, but he's had a few where he is off the ball, maybe, I guess, a little more aware of things, directing traffic, making sure the switches are right.
Yes.
I'd imagine you want more of that from him, right, to be
Yes.
kind of the guy who's kind of leading things on that end of the floor.
Yeah, he's a good talker. He's a really good talker. And, there's some specific parts of our defense that we've really been stressing the last 2 weeks. We've showed them clips from our team, our third year that was top 20 in the country in defense, and our first team that was top 20 as well. And I think the connection and just some key points, and I think we need Jamari to continue to lead the way there with that. We've seen some improvement, but obviously we're going to get tested against some really good offenses here coming up.
Chris, did you know how your team would respond after halftime? Did you have an idea that they would come out and play, I mean, to flip the script the way that they did?
People, you know, to be honest with you, I don't really look at it like that. I know people think it was a tale of two halves. I don't really look at it like that. Listen, this team almost, you know, they went down to the last minute at Wisconsin. You know, they played Iowa. They were up 4 at half. I just, you know, people think in this league you should just blow people out. Just, you know, in the first half, be up 20. Like, come on now. Like, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general, people think that. Like, have you ever played? Like, that doesn't happen in league play. So I just knew that it was going to be a little bit of a slow drip, and if we could win some possessions, maybe we could stretch it. But, you know, I didn't really look at it at the tale of two halves. Outside of our shot making, Adam was much better, and we attacked the zone with a little more aggressiveness.
How much of that, if at all, was EJ? It seemed like they really made it tough for him to get going, and I mean, he scored a lot of his points late. A lot of times this season when you've needed to get going, it's been EJ.
Yeah, they really crowded him. It was not single coverage like we saw the other night. They really crowded him, and we got to cut better off him and play off him. And if they're gonna not guard Jamari's got to be ready to shoot it. He had to probably pass it a little bit more tonight, and he did. He was a willing passer. He always is, but he was a little bit sloppy with the ball at times.
Chris, when you say it takes time for Jamari to get some of those shots off, what do you mean by it? I mean, is it just that he hesitates to do it? Is it what do you?
Just his release didn't take Dwayne much time. Dwayne never didn't even need to think about it twice. But Dwayne had a really quick release. Jamari's just release, his mechanics are just a little. I'm not saying they're slow. It's just he's a little bit smaller, so it takes a little bit more time. But when he has time and space, he's very accurate. I mean, I've seen him shoot it for the whole year. He's very accurate.
So when teams do give him that shot, I mean, green light, he takes it?
Yes, absolute green light. Absolute green light. Needs to take it, want him to take it. Doesn't need to hesitate ever, at all. If he's got an open three with time and space.
So I want to pursue your comment about tale of two halves and you're pushing back against that. You're not happy with the first half in which you have no free throw attempts, 8 turnovers, and 2 assists, are you?
I wasn't happy with our turnovers. I was really happy with our defense. Yeah, to valid question. I was not happy. I thought we were really sloppy. We didn't attack the zone great, but I was really happy with our defense. I thought we played at times really well in the first half. We just didn't make some open shots. But I was not pleased with our sloppy offensive play in terms of turnovers.
So you talk a lot about your offensive efficiency. For you, the lack of offensive efficiency in the first half was just that it didn't go in, and you turned it over too often.
No, it was part of it, and we were careless with the ball. Yeah, we were definitely careless with the ball. We addressed that. Careless with the ball and no offensive rebounds is the kind of the things we hammered. But and I just thought we were too stagnant against the zone. So I'm not saying we played a great half. I'm just saying sometimes it takes you a little bit of a feel. They played differently the second time in terms of how they played their man-to-man than the first time. So you go into the game thinking they're going to play one way. They play a different way. You got to make some adjustments at halftime. And that was part of what we.
Chris, kind of piggybacking off that, in the second half, you guys had 9 assists to 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
Did that kind of just come with getting more comfortable with what you were seeing from their defense, or?
I think that was a big part of it. And like I said, Ryan Peden had a good suggestion on a little bit more movement against the zone. But I think it was a comfort level. And then, when you see a few shots go down and you get that, 5-7 point, I think it gives you a little bit of freedom. So I think that was a combination of things.
And with EJ, he kind of had kind of a slow start, but he still finished with 16 points. He had a big pair of threes towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
Is he just somebody that you can really just, at a snap of a finger, you can kind of trust him to make some big shots, make some big plays?
I don't know if it's quite that easy, but I've always said God has gifted him with the ability to score the ball. He can roll out of bed and score the ball, and that's a great gift.
Maybe this is too simplistic of a question, but it's obvious why it's important Justin Orange needs to shoot the ball. I think a blind man can see that. with people like Jamari, where everybody knows it's not his strength, it's probably the weakest part of his game, and the defense is clearly daring him to do it. With those types of guys, why is it so important that they still have no hesitation and shoot those shots?
Well, our offense needs that. Our offense needs multiple threats out there. And Jamari's going to get open looks because of against certain teams because of how they play our post players. And so will some other guys. But I thought Malachi's, couple threes there early really opened things up. I love the transition three he had. I thought it was a great play by Jamari. But I just think for our offense to continue to be successful, it cannot be just, the E.J. Liddell show every night. You're not beating good teams with that. It just, teams are too good defensively, so we got to have some variety.
I know Jamari's a veteran, but he's relatively new to your team. Would you have kept him in a game, in a Big Ten game early in the season with 2 fouls that quickly, or put him back in, I guess?
Yeah,
or
I
did
don't
that
believe
take
in
time to
benching
trust?
guys with 2 fouls. I just don't believe in that. I never have. It's burnt me a few times, but I do not believe in benching guys with 2 fouls in the first half. So it's just philosophy.
So just a trust that you trust the guy to play through it?
Yeah, now if they burn me a few times, I probably will keep them on the bench. But you get 5 fouls, I think, before you get disqualified. So I prefer to keep our best players on the floor as much as we can.
Sorry, are you learning a little bit about your defense these last couple of games? I mean, you're starting to maybe string some stops together. I'm sure it's not where you want it to be, and I know you're not a finished product, but are you starting to see something change in a mentality or in how your guys are approaching that end of the court?
I think so, Adam, but I think it's such a process for us as a group, and it's a climb that we have to make every day. It's a commitment and a climb we have to make every day. But I think we're getting a little bit better understanding, and that's really, it's got to be player-led. It's got to be player-led. So we've had some good stretches here, but we play one of the best offensive teams in the country on Saturday.
Does that go with you talking about how this is starting to become a little bit of a player-led team? Are those
for
the
sure.
same?
I think for sure this time of year, like we have identified that over and over, that will provide limitations for us. Yeah.
To Steven's point about the reason why you like Justin out there and shooting, we talked about Justin's kind of shedding his slump a couple games ago. It does not appear in the last 3 that he's built on that. And it looks like Ced and Gene are taking minutes that used to be his. I know you're at this point of the season, are you not, where guys who are coming on and guys who are regressing, I mean, does that have to result in the minutes equation that we've seen, or is Justin in a position where he's got to start producing more in the future because you can't continue to count on what you've seen in the past?
I think Justin will get continued consistent minutes. He's in our rotation. He's not starting, but he's in our rotation. I don't see that changing where he's not going to be in our rotation because he adds too much value to our team in other ways than just shooting. So I think that he'll continue to stay in the rotation as long as, he continues to approach it the right way. I just think he will in our 8, 9-man rotation.
Would you agree Ced and Gene are coming on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, both those guys, the minutes have some of Justin's minutes have been given to those 2 guys for sure. But it's a pretty fluid thing as well. But both of those guys have played really well here lately.